Especially, I got it.
All right.
Yeah, it's catching everybody. Yeah. And don't worry, it's a wide angle. Oh, all right, go ahead. You're good up there, right? Sure.
Yeah, we're good.
Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome back to Crossroads. We are literally crossing the road.
Literally.
We are literally here. We're excited, inspired by some of the late night show hosts. What's his name?
James Corden.
James Corden.
Yeah.
You know, he does the, we might throw that out sometime. We do a little OA men's.
That's right.
I live for you.
I live for you.
So if you're watching us here, you know, we got our producer in the back over
yes,
there. So
I got Elton.
We're excited, and so we got the four here. So we just want to do something creative, something cool to hang out. But yeah, guys, how y'all doing, man? It's the summertime.
Yeah.
Doing a nice little break. Obviously, we miss hanging out, but how y'all doing up there?
Good, man. It's been a good summer so far, man. The summer's like the time to like catch your breath, man. Like unwind a little bit.
Facts.
Got a few vacations sprinkled in.
Yeah.
Coming up and one past. So it's been a good summer so far, man. But I miss talking with you guys, man. It was becoming like a staple, man. Just every 2 weeks get together and talk a little bit. But yeah, I'm enjoying the summer so far, man. It's nice. It's nice.
I love that.
Yeah. It's been good for me too, man. Had a vacation a couple weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. I needed it.
Yeah.
Got to see a lot of family. Highlight of so it's always good to see family. It's always good to see family, and outside of that, the highlight of my vacation was driving a Tesla.
Yes,
and guys, if you've never ridden in a Tesla before, you got to get in a Tesla. You got to get in, at least one time in your life.
I think most people, believe it or not, like if you test drive one, it'll change your mind, man. It's just one of those things where it's fun. Yeah, I think once you drive one, it puts like a little something in there. You're like, all right, I could do that every day. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I will say that's what's cool. I mean, you look around. You know, we are in a Tesla at this moment, courtesy of Crossroads Productions. And all of our sponsors. So thank you. Your money goes to good use.
Thank you, Morningstar.
Thank you, Morningstar. You'll find that out. We'll make one of those reels for what we did this morning with a shout out to Morningstar as they made the blueberry pancake corn dogs.
We're gonna have to get into that too.
We're gonna have to. There, but no, it's great. I mean, I love it because of all the lighting. Right, this is perfect for filming. You got windows everywhere.
Yeah,
love it. So I question the safety integrity of this vehicle.
Yeah, don't question it. Don't question it.
But no, we've been good, man. The same thing. E, we haven't heard your voice here, man. How you been, bro? How's that?
I've been good, man. You know, staying busy with you guys. Actually, I have a vacation coming up.
Let's go.
With OG.
Yeah.
Going to the Azores.
No hay gente como gente. Yes. No hay gente como gente is from a song, like a Portuguese, like a Azorian Portuguese song, and it's like it's kind of like there's no people like these people, or there's no people like these people. Like it's a pride song for like the Portuguese people. So you say no hay gente como gente. It's like there's no people like us, you know what I mean?
I see.
So it's kind of an inside joke in our family because I know the song, and even when I see my mother-in-law, I'm always like, whenever we mention the Azores, I'm like, no hay gente como gente, like, you know.
Right.
Like,
it's always just like the, I hear that. Oh, legit.
Yeah. So we had a great concert last night.
Oh, man.
We just met
fantastic.
we have the Filipino friends, man. The Orlando Filipino SDA Church, man. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
Shout out,
man. You guys took care of us. You know, and hopefully we'll reconnect again. And
go back sometime.
And it's funny, man, because all the different cultures, right? We all kind of brag about or feel that we have hospitality on lock. Like our culture is the most hospitable. Spanish people, we're the friendliest, the loudest, and whatever.
Right.
And then you go into like another culture, the Filipino culture, and you're like, yo, these people are just as loud, just as friendly, and just as hospitable. You know what I mean?
They're just like us.
They're just like us, man. But so it's like everybody in their own culture feels like we got it. But I mean, which is a beautiful thing about having your own, like, you know, culture and ways of doing stuff. But they treated us like family, man.
They did.
That was awesome.
Seriously, family.
Yeah.
We ate, and then I even took a nap.
Yeah, people were
We
sprawled out.
put that video on.
They said make yourself at home.
And they meant it.
Elton was face down in one of the guest rooms.
Hopefully at this moment you're seeing the video on the video.
Yeah, we do have a clip.
Cheryl and Monique, his wife,
locked up,
were like on the couch, like on their honeymoon, under the white sheets, all cuddled up, sleeping like they're home.
So you're in Costa Rica right now.
I wanted to sleep, but I was just talking too much. And man, no, it was you guys took it to the next level.
I'm gonna go right here.
Take a right?
Yeah.
Go right. No, it was amazing. It was an amazing day, and yeah, we've been looking forward to this project here, and so hopefully you guys like it.
Yeah.
It's different, so we're trying to, you know, be creative. And,
right.
Yeah, the summertime is all about maybe just trying some different things out. You know.
But don't forget, we're coming back this season, August 7th.
August 7th.
August 7th. You know,
we're excited. No, it's been great. We had a great time, and the summer's been good so far. It's been hot here, raining a lot too, but
definitely.
But it's been good to hang out. This weekend was awesome. But yeah, guys, just going into kind of some things that have been going on, right? I don't think there's ever an appropriate time to make this reference, so I'm just gonna do it. And if I get in trouble, I get in trouble. But it's interesting that we are, you know, four grown men in a small space, reminiscent of other people that were in a small space that unfortunately got the terrible news of the submersible this last week, right? So if you're listening now, it's currently June 25, and the world has been in a not an uproar, I think, but a
fixation
with the news. And I mean, I know a couple of us here in the car every morning, waking up throughout the day, checking up, did they find it? Did they find this submersible with these people that had gone down and looking for the Titanic and doing some of those trips there? And so it's crazy hearing some of the stories, and kind of being in that, you know, I don't know how you guys would have felt to be in that cramped space. First of all, would you have been on that, like if that a possibility, if you had the money to
I would have been tempted. I would have been tempted only because I've always been like, ever since I was a kid, like I've always, any documentary comes up Titanic, I'm like, yeah, let's watch it. Like I've always been intrigued, and I can't really put my finger on why. I mean, I scuba dive, and I like, you know, the thought of wrecks and stuff like that is exciting, but just that story of the tragedy, it's always been like a mystery and an allure, and a chance to see it. Had you had the funds, it would have been tempting. Now, I mean, obviously there's some mechanical issues and some skepticism as far as the construction, right? But at least the idea of going to see it was appealing. Is appealing, right? To see it in person would be
like that history, right? Of just going down there and just all that means. That's interesting.
So I love history, documentaries, historical facts, you know, historical books, autobiographies, biographies. I love all that sort of stuff. But my love for history cannot trump my phobia of water, of deep water.
So from the get-go, you would have been like, the idea even, you're like, nah.
Yeah, the concept to me, if I'm gonna do it, it needs to be something that is, you know, it's extremely mechanically sound. It's been
done thousands of times.
Right, exactly.
It's like flying in an airplane now.
Exactly.
You feel like I'm gonna get there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% opposed to the idea of going down and exploring the Titanic wreck. But for me to do it, I'd have to do it on a sub that's been down there 3,000 times.
Goes twice a day.
Yeah,
it's always.
Yeah, they got, you know, they're taking 30 people down there every hour.
Yeah.
You know, they just have a reputation of doing it. If you're just now starting out and you only have a few trips under your belt, I need some more data to prove to me that this is safe before I sign up.
Because your threshold of doing it is even higher than just the average person because of the fear of the water.
Exactly.
I hear you.
Yeah, it is a crazy. I mean, there's a lot of, I think, topics and conversations that comes from this, right? In terms of, one is the response from the world. You know, maybe a couple of days and week apart from, you know, the boat that was going from Libya to Italy, that kind of off the shore of Greece. You know, that had a lot of migrants. I think about 400, 500 people on the boat that sunk. A lot of people died. Some people were rescued, but just the effort that was put into that versus the cooperation to save this. As many people on social media would say, you know, just a bunch of billionaires in a little tin can, and how everything got mobilized, right? So I think there's a lot of conversation pieces there in terms of that disparity, right, of how, you know, the search for there. I think like as we're talking now, the desire to go and search the unsearchable is interesting.
I think, but I've been hearing that too, and I think a lot of that, something that people kind of miss, right? Because they'll say, hey, these 100 people died on this particular thing and no one's talking about it. It's what gets talked about in the media, all the channels, all the countries, is what is interesting to the majority of people, right? Yeah. So it's not diminishing the value of life versus these 5 guys and a story where 100 people, let's say, died on a ship in India. It's just, it doesn't make the news because the majority of people, sadly, aren't as interested. Why is every station going to be talking about it when no one cares enough about it?
Which is what happened, right? You have the oxygen countdown timer.
Yeah, right? It was like,
it was 46 hours left.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh man, you're kind of really invested in that, whereas, the whole topic of immigration can be one that's more...
And it's not necessarily fair, the amount of resources that are allocated to one, but really, life is not fair. What's interesting to most people is what gets discussed, or gets money put into it, right?
Yeah, that's true. And you also have a lot of the... I just went blank, so...
If you see both my hands flying here too, I've got 2 knees too. So.
It's a Tesla, so it drives itself.
Yeah, it drives itself. It's auto driving. It's auto driving. Don't worry about it.
But it's been, another aspect of it too, right? Is the search that we as people have for what's out there. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember Louis Giglio. He's a pastor from Atlanta, Georgia. He had this sermon back in the day when I was in high school about laminin. It was like this protein. Something that lived in your body that they did a microscopic picture and it looks like a cross, right? So obviously as a Christian, they're like, yo, look at this, right?
That's what.
But he quoted one of the philosophers from way back in the day that said, and I'm trying to quote it off my mind from years ago, but along the lines of, men will travel, to space and to the depths of the sea to find like this amazing, breathtaking things, but they pass by themselves without realizing how marvelous we are too, right? So it's like this desire how... you think of the first explorers, right, as they believed that they were, exploring and finding the first plots of land, or our expedition to space, right? Now this expedition to the bottom of the sea, right? You look at videos like James Cameron going down to the Mariana Trench, like the deepest part. Yeah. Like it's just like, it seems like it's something natural in us.
Built in humanity, right?
And I don't know what you guys think about that, right? Is there some drive in us that naturally is seeking for something that sometimes like the eye cannot behold presently, so we have to go find it, Yeah,
I think humans are naturally curious. We're built with a natural curiosity to explore what the space that we're existing in. I think that that's a good thing. You want to be curious, you want to explore and to figure things out. We have brains that are capable of reasoning and logic and thinking and deciphering, and so to put that muscle to use, you need to be curious. It's just making sure that there is a good balance and a healthy curiosity and an unhealthy curiosity where you're now diving into things that you don't need to dive into, or you're getting so bogged down in things that you're missing everything else that's going on around you.
But a lot of people too would argue, and this is, I think that the idea of, like, for example, using this tragedy as an example of like, oh, we're going down to explore. It's not really exploring when it's something that's been discovered already and explored countless times. It's true. But what many would say is we wouldn't have a lot of the advantages we have now, or the advances that we have now, had not someone at some point taken a life risk, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So we benefit from people that are willing to push the boundaries of what is considered to be normal or safe.
Yeah.
But also, I think this particular example, there was a lot of corners cut. We're not going to get into all the. It's like you could spend hours talking about it, but it wasn't necessarily the safest endeavor. But what I'm saying is there are people that had not been for their willingness to go outside of what seems normal, we wouldn't have a lot of what we have.
Yeah,
I think you hear from, what's the guy's name, that the CEO of that place?
Stockton
Rush.
Yeah. So he kind of, a lot of interviews, he kind of spoke on that, right? It's like, hey, if you want to really do and be an innovator, you got to, go around what is established, right, or what's understood to be true. So I think there's a sentiment that I think anyone that does something, the first thing that comes to mind is like, people that come as immigrants to this country, right? You have to do things that are sometimes whether unorthodox or just different from the status quo from where you're coming from, to say I want a better life or I want a better opportunities for my family or for my future. And it takes taking a risk, right?
Some people, man, don't even understand, you know, the risks that people, you know, and I don't want to get into this whole immigration thing because we could spend another 3 days talking about that. But I did have a patient once. I'll tell you a quick story since, you know, we're just gonna talk about whatever today.
So I forgot. You have cash?
I don't have my thingamajig. Yeah, I got cash.
Okay, because it's a toll, so I forgot my little.
Charge it to the 1/4 account.
Yeah, we'll charge
I have a little thingamajig at home, but
yeah, I forgot mine in the car too. Sorry.
No, it's all good, bro. We got cash. We got cash.
I don't have cash. I've gone twice over here without cash, and I had to.
No, we have a little thingamajig at home, but
I have it in the car. I forgot.
Change receipts. Okay. So no, a quick story. I had a patient one time. This lady was probably and this is a tangent, but she was like in her 20s, I think, late 20s, and she was telling me how she lived in Cuba, and she had a newborn. I'm talking newborn, like still breastfeeding newborn, like you know, early.
Wow.
Hello. How are you?
How are you?
Good.
Welcome to Crossroads.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the submersible?
Just in case you didn't think we were driving, we on the road. We're paying toll right now.
Yeah, we're literally paying toll.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Oh, you had cash.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
I thought you had.
What kind of cash do you think I
I
have?
had like a $2 bill, $3, $5.
Oh man, we don't roll with 2s and 1s, baby. This is Crossroad. We roll with 20s and 50s.
We're in the Tesla. I forget that.
Yeah. So this lady was she had a newborn and she had paid someone. I think it was like $1,500 or $1,000. She had gotten the money they were going to bring her from Cuba to Mexico in a boat.
Right.
Like I'm talking like a little boat.
Right.
And from Mexico, she was gonna like hitchhike and get rides to the border, where she had family in America that was gonna kind of meet her, and that's how she was gonna get to America and political asylum or whatever it is that Cubans have here. So she was telling me about this journey, and I don't remember all the details, but I mean, it was many times on this little boat. Oh, so the first night, she's in the woods with this newborn, right? It's raining, and the boat doesn't show up.
Oh,
she's kind of in the woods, like near this cliff area, where they were supposed to meet her at 3 in the morning, and they didn't come. So she spent the whole day thinking maybe they'll come tomorrow.
Wow.
She's already paid for this, by the way.
Right.
So
it's not cheap.
It's not cheap.
Yeah.
She's got the baby. She's trying to keep the baby quiet. She's nursing the baby because there's no food. She's not eating, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So then the next day the boat does show up, and they're like, "Oh, we had some issue, and sorry we're late." But this is a little boat. This is not like a cruise, right? So she gets on the boat. She's going on the boat across, in the ocean, in the Gulf, to get to Mexico. She's talking about the trip, how there's like no food, there's very little water. All this, like she's like, we could have died. It would have been better to die on the boat than to live in Cuba.
Yeah.
And she gets to Mexico. She hitchhikes her way through Mexico and ends up on the border and ends up crossing into the country. And we're not going to get into the merits of illegal immigration or anything like that here. But what I'm trying to say is like the risk that she was willing to take to save herself and provide a better opportunity for herself and her baby. She was willing to die if that's what it was, because what her situation was. You want to go left?
Or I don't know where you guys want. You want to go through Flagler? I
don't know what you want to do. This is not This is no comparison, obviously, to what just happened. I'm saying those people didn't have to be down there.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, like, people do take a lot of risks.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that I think we've been trying to do, right? Just have a place to have a conversation, whether you agree or not. I think it's important to be able to sit and dialogue and say, man, I never thought about. Every time I talk about immigration, I usually think about it as like this and that, right? And instead of seeing like the risk
there's a human behind it,
there's a human behind it, right? At the end of the day, so I think that's crucial. But yeah, taking risks, I think is something that maybe different personalities or people, in different situations and circumstances take more often. But I think it's something that we just love, even as a kid, right? You're like, how much can I get away with my family or my mom, right? How much can I do this and that? We're just risk takers, and I think it just speaks to kind of the condition of humans, right? We just want to explore the world, right? Go to the depths and the heights and all that.
Is there a threshold or like a level of risk where we should say, all right, this is too much? Because I feel like for some people they would say that the risk that these 5 individuals took was too much. Yeah. But obviously they didn't think it was too much.
Well, dude, there's people today that said, no, yeah, I would have still gone knowing what I know now.
Yeah.
There's people who
Yeah,
went. There's people who went on that submersible that said, like, no, knowing what I know now, I would have still have gone because it was worth every penny.
Right.
Like, I want to live. Like,
I think it might be subjective to each person, right?
Sure,
Like,
it's you're saying like people have. You were saying like people have different thresholds of risk.
Yeah,
I think in general, even in life, like I scuba dive. Some people are like, dude, you're crazy. You know, and some people say I ride motorcycles, and you're like, dude, you're crazy. So everyone has stuff that, like, I wouldn't jump out of an airplane, but I would go underwater with a tank and a mask.
I wonder if it, you know, I think it's subjective, and also I think it just depends on your context, right? You know, I'm now 30s, and you guys have kids, right? So I think at every stage in life,
it changes how you
when
think.
you're in your 15s, 20s, and you're like, oh, whatever. But then you're like, oh, I'm at 30s, I can't be running and jumping off things like I used to, right? Now that I have kids, I'm not living for myself anymore. I'm living for, you know, my wife, now that I'm married, for my kids now, you know, so I think you kind of begin to hopefully think through the risks that you take.
Yeah.
Because of and it's interesting, right? The relational aspect, right? Because of the people around you, right? Hey, if I stop,
then what happens
I'm
to
the
them?
provider for at home, right? So how does that happen? You know, what happens to my family? What happens to my kids? What happens? So I think we begin to, you know, kind of tamper that. And some people go, hey, you just living a boring life, though. Like, well.
Listen. Yeah, I'd rather be boring and here, though. That's the thing. Some people are like, nah, I'd rather take risk and go early.
That's why I think it's subjective.
It's
right?
subjective.
Depends
It's an
on
individual thing.
Situations, man. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think another, you know, we've kind of gone through a couple of lessons. A third one, I was going to share this yesterday. It was like, there's this song from Lauren Daigle that's, she sings, like, I will send out an army to find you in the middle of something, right? So this whole point is, she's talking about God's pursuit for us.
Yeah.
Right? And so every morning I would wake up and see, like, oh, they sent a new boat, the Coast Guard, they're sending the, you know, ROVs and the drones, and they're doing, and the midst of it, I was like, man, this is kind of like what God does. He just goes out of his way, mobilizes all of heaven to be able to, and you're thinking, dude, it's, you know, someone that maybe is not in the same tax bracket. Like, I agree with what you're saying, OG, of like money-wise, you know, people-wise, right? They're people that passed away, and that's always sad. But a lot of people are like, well, they're billionaires, man. They got what they got. We don't have that money to go spend $250,000 to go sit. But just to see that God doesn't discriminate either. He's just like, whoever it is, I'm gonna go out of my way and mobilize all of heaven. It's beautiful to have a God like that, you know.
Well, and that mobilization of heaven is happening right now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People that we know in our surroundings that don't know the beauty of God and Christ and the gospel. Mm-hmm. God is searching for you right now. Like, I mean, and there's some parallels in terms of like all the resources that have already been poured out. I mean, the blood of his son was poured out already for you. And actively now, that tug on your heart and on your conscience, the spirit is working to find you, if you're, you know, and save you and free you, right? So there are some parallels in terms of like, you know, the search. It will not be stopped until it's over. You know what I mean? The search, the search will not be discontinued until all are drawn to Him or decide not to. You know.
Yeah.
So
and I like that description because, you know, I think it was Thursday. You know, they came out and said that, you know, the stuff they found the wreckage of the sub, the debris, and there were people that said that as early as Monday they had heard, you know, when they heard that.
The implosion, the sound
of the implosion, as well as, you know, the fact that they lost comms and tracking.
Right.
You pretty much kind of knew, if you're in that community, you kind of knew this is not good. They're gone.
Yeah.
But even with that,
they're still searching.
They were still searching, and they said, and they were very intentional about saying this is a search and rescue. Like, we're not saying that they're gone until there is no more hope.
Yeah.
We're approaching this as if they're still here.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with God. Like, He doesn't care how much bad you've done. He doesn't care what you're doing right now. He's gonna keep searching. It's a search and rescue until the very last moment.
Search and
rescue. You know what's interesting, right? I think it's, you know, we talk about, you know, the next couple of minutes as we finish up. I think it's, you think about, you know, hell, and, you know, the idea that, you know, bad people burn forever, and we don't ascribe to that idea, right? We believe that God is a merciful God, and He doesn't take pleasure in the torment of people that don't choose Him. But it's interesting, right, that you're saying, that imagery thought, it's like that idea in Revelation where God finally at some point, C.S. Lewis says that in the end there are two groups of people. It's those that God said that speak to God and say, God, your will be done. and the other group are people that God looks at and says, "Your will be done," right? So it's two groups of people that, you know, God does all He can, just like the summer. We're looking. Everything's out there, and then you get to the point where, because of their, you know, short sight and not choosing God and not really knowing what true life means and freedom and all that, it's kind of like they have an implosion, right?
Yeah.
You kind of, what we believe sin leads to death, right? So it's a self kind of detonated death, right? And God's like still, even to that last second, God's still trying to reach out. And then we kind of just, and God's like, I did everything I possibly could. And I didn't stop, knowing that that was the end, right? On Sunday, Monday, we knew something had happened.
Right. Oh, that's, I see.
But we're gonna keep going until the very end. I'm still gonna send my spirit, my mercy. I'm still gonna work, and it's a beautiful picture of a God, and I think that's what Crossroads is all about, right? The intersection of faith and life, of just seeing. We've seen it, right? When the true picture and character of God is really seen by your heart, it really changes how you live your life, right? How you view.
It changes you. It changes who you are. Like you know. Yeah.
I love that. Man, great combo, man, in the car.
Yeah, man. No doubt. It's a beautiful day out here too, man. We're over here in Flagler area, man. It's a nice day, man. This is a cool way for us to kind of get together and talk a little bit.
I love that. I wonder if we do a song for the people, man. I live for you.
Oh wow!
1, 2,
no pressure.
No pressure for a lot. Yo, real quick, man. Before we wrap it up,
How did it start?
How'd it start? We got to give a little shout out, man, to like the Filipino family that hosted us, hosted on One Accord, our vocal group this past week.
Yes, definitely.
And I'm telling you what, man, like David, and the family that the house we ate at.
Mahalia and David, and then David.
No. He's
Dan. Was it Daniel?
Man, we're butchering the shout out.
Sorry, man.
but
you guys were great.
Listen, it was so nice, right? And the food,
amazing.
Listen, I'm a foodie, man. Like when food is good, like I get excited. My mouth gets excited. Yeah. I almost want
tears.
Yeah, you almost get like you want to cry a little bit because you can't stop smiling, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the ladies there, I think it was Mahalia, right?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Mahalia. That was David. It was David's wife, and I'm drawing a blank on her name. That made the curry.
Yeah, right. The curry.
Yeah. And everything was good, right? But this curry, man, it was so good, man. And I got a little bowl. I put some rice in there, and I buried that thing in an ocean, a sea of gravy.
Oh man!
And then I had tofu, and I had like garlic, and it had green peppers, and it had the spiciness. And when you started biting into that rice, and that gravy started like taking over all the corners of your mouth.
And it was good. It wasn't too spicy. I was just like
it was the perfect.
You can always add more. That's always good.
You know, and it was a cacophony of food because it wasn't just the curry. It was like every single thing you tasted was like dancing around your brain like a pleasure moment.
And even
you know
the pasta was good too.
The
broccoli and
a
tofu.
piece of broccoli accidentally fell into the curry sauce, and that broccoli said, "Let me stay here. I want to live here now."
Let me linger. Let me
just linger.
Let me dwell in this curry.
No, it was. And the thing is, and they were so nice to us, which is like
amazing.
You know, you expect people to obviously treat you nicely,
right?
But there was a genuine like family. We've known you guys for a long time feeling, and honestly, man, that was one of the best get-togethers I think I've ever been a part of with strangers. Right? You expect that people you know, but these people didn't know us and they treated us so well.
That's good.
From the beginning to the end.
Great shout out. I love this. So shout out if you guys are in the Altamont area, go check out the Orlando Filipino
SDA Church, man.
Anywhere else, go Palm Coast. Anywhere else.
If you're in Palm Coast, come see us. But if you're down in Orlando, the Filipino family there, man, at the church there, they treat you right. They're just genuine good people, you know.
That's awesome. I love that. Thanks for being with us, guys. This is a little summer episode. There's some video as well, so we're excited. Season 2's gonna have some video as well, so we're excited to be able to do that for y'all. And thanks for riding along with us as we've crossed the road throughout Palm Coast. And hope that this conversation was something that triggered your mind as we've thought through the current events of this time. So blessings, and we'll catch y'all in the next thing.
See you guys.
See you in season 2.